Hello everyone, my name is Mouse Tutorial and today I'm going to show you how to make a basic item. Now this shouldn't be too hard because I've already covered blocks and items aren't too different. But at least I will mention everything that you have to do and change at least once. Now the way I like to do this is first set up the item IDs and the textures, the item IDs and the strings before I make the item. And after I've made the item, I like to set the name and the texture. Now what we are going to create is a black stick, this one. So let's start with that. Now what I like to do is first go to strings and add the name. So public, static, final, string, black stick underscore name is equal to black stick. Great. Save that and close that out. We don't need it anymore. Now what we want to do is create a new class inside the lib package called item IDs. We already have a block IDs but no item IDs. So public static int black stick underscore ID is undefined yet, and public static final int black stick ID default is going to be 5000. It needs to be a really high number. I think it's about 4096, but I'm not sure. Now why do I use final for this one but not for the top one? Because I have initialized this. Final means that you cannot change it anymore, and I don't have to change this anymore, but I do have to change this. This is changeable in the config, so it needs to be able to change. So let's actually add the config handler. Now we can use the block ID config, so let's do that. Item ID, and basically it's pretty much the same as the line above it, just change all the block to items. So item IDs.blackstick ID is config.getItem strings dot blackstick name, default ID is item IDs dot blackstick default, and we want to add dot get int item IDs dot blackstick ID default. So now we have that configuration file set up and close it down. Now we're going to use the same system as we used for the blocks. We are going to have a file which is going to spread to all the different block files. In this case item files, which is this one. And we're gonna have different item files, for example block new block. Now I have changed the name because it's easier if you say block and then the block name instead of the block name itself. You can change that by right clicking it, refactor, and then rename. All the imports are fixed automatically. And from this class we're gonna get together again in a different class, which is extending block, and which is gonna add the names. So let's add a new package inside the common folder called, and it's pretty easy to guess what I'm gonna create. Martin top item. Create that. Now what we want to do is create 3 new classes. First one item black stick. Secondly, item top, and third is going to be mod items. Now let's check really quick. Yeah, mod items is the first class. So this should have something that's public static void that can be loaded from our main class or top.java class. So as you can see, I have done that for blocks as mod blocks.blocks init. Now for items I'm going to use mod items.item init. So let's create that method item init, just like this. Okay, now what we want to do is add a item. So let's declare that public static item black stick. Now that black stick It's going to be equal to new item black stick. Now we need to give it an ID, and of course we are getting the ID from item IDs.blackstickID. So it's going to give me a bunch of errors, firstly because I need to import item, and secondly because this doesn't exist yet. That's true, that's very true. So let's save this and go to our item blackstick class. Now we need a public static item black stick. It needs an int ID, and we're gonna pass that ID to the super class, just like this. And I think remove envelope modifiers. Okay. What? And we want to extend, mod items. So what we also want to do is this dot set. Okay, this is not going to work yet, so let's set up mod items first because it's way easier. So mod items is not the right one. We want to go to item top. Sorry, item top is going to extend item. We need to import that, and we want to say everything that we get, put that to the super-class. Item top, int ID, public, static. I think I need static. If not, it will tell me super ID. So now, if we go back to this one, it should be able to do this. This dot. There we go. So this is the layout that I want. Dot set creative tab. There we go. Okay, so our item tab, item class, is gonna say that it has the creative tab, combat. Why not? Now we also want to say this dot set unlocalized name, strings dot blackstick name. And again, you can read all this in my GitHub repository. So if it went too quickly, or if I was too confusing, as pardon me, you can always read it back on GitHub. It's really easy to do that. So we have to remove static. Why not? And we still have an error right here because we need to import. Now one last thing that we need to do is get this, and I'm not going to explain this again because I've already done that, but we need to paste it here and change this to item icon. Now for fancy settings I will move this down a bit, save it all, and that's basically the coding. So that's done, close all of that. What we want to do now is add the name and the texture. So open up your workspace, go to source, your mod, resources, mods, TOP in this case. Let's do the language first. So open up your language file and edit that with any editor. Copy the line saying the block, and what we want to change is from tile to item, from new block to black stick. And we want to change, of course, the name to black stick. Save that and close it down. Now what we also want to do is change the textures. So open textures and create a new folder because it's not a block, it's an item. What you want to do now is just drag and drop your texture in. And there we have it, black stick. Now don't forget, please don't forget, that's what always happens to me, to reload your resources. Refresh, I mean. Refresh that and make sure it worked by opening the textures and make sure that your texture is in. If not, it's gonna just not work, and that's not what you want. So let's run it and see if we have no errors. I hope not. And there we go. Open up a single player world. I would advise to create a new one because you have created a new ID, and otherwise the IDs are gonna mess up. And there we go. So it should be in the combat tab. So let's open the combat tag, and there we have it. Black stick. Completely with texture, name, and there we have it. The only thing that it does not have yet is a right click action and stuff like that, but that will be added in future tutorials. But for now, this was it. I hope you liked it. Please leave a like if you now know how to make an item, and subscribe to my channel because you will be informed when my next tutorial is up, and that's always useful. And I hope I'll see you next time. So this was Mouse Tutorial, and I'll see you next time.